In the sprawling command bridge of the Galactic Empire's flagship, suspicion churns. A mysterious, unregistered vessel speeds through the outer rim, unseen until moments ago. Alien commanders, drenched in arrogance, dismiss the threat until human calm radiates from the void, shaking their certainty. A single, silent act and a chilling promise by a human captain ignite fear and confusion, marking the first tremor of a power shift no one saw coming. That ship's not in any records, and it's moving fast. The voice crackled sharply. Through the comms on the Imperial bridge, cutting through the low hum of engines and restless murmurs, Lieutenant Vorka narrowed his reptilian eyes at the glowing holomap flickering before him. The unknown craft surged through the black, its trajectory erratic yet swift, impossibly swift. Admiral Javel turned from the command chair, a cold smile playing on his angular jaw. "Records are made by us, Lieutenant. If it's not here, it does not exist." A ripple of nervous laughter echoed through the bridge crew, but the tension was palpable. No one dared speak of the silent gaps in the Empire's reach. How many worlds had slipped through their grasp? How many rogue forces lurked beyond their polished sensors? "Sir," Vorka said, voice tight, "this is no rogue faction or known rebel cruiser. Its signature reads, human." Javel's smile hardened, his gaze sharpening. "Humans." He spat the word like venom. Primitive earthlings, left behind in the dust of progress. Outside the viewport, stars streaked past. The unknown ship's silhouette emerged, a sleek vessel unlike anything catalogued by the Empire. Its surface shimmered with a strange, almost organic gleam that defied known material science. On board the ship, Captain Celine's eyes were fixed on her console, her hands steady, betraying none of the calm flooding through her veins. Silence enveloped the crew. No alarms blared, no frantic commands. Just the measured pulse of the ship's core humming beneath them, a heartbeat older and fiercer than the Empire understood. Celine's voice broke the quiet. "They're watching, waiting to see if we falter." She rose from her seat, stepping toward the viewport. The stars were nothing but streaks now, the Empire's flagship drawing near. "Let them watch," she said quietly, her voice laced with cold certainty. "They're not ready for what we've buried." Behind her, the ship's ancient emblem glowed faintly, an archaic symbol from Earth's forgotten wars, a reminder of battles fought in shadows no alien had dreamed existed. Back on the Imperial bridge, Javel's fingers tightened into fists. His pride was wounded, but deeper still, a shadow of dread crept across his mind. "They thought we were alone," he muttered, eyes locked on the approaching ghost. They never looked beneath their arrogance. The command room's lights dimmed slightly as an encrypted message began transmitting from the unknown vessel. An unfinished code, a countdown, a silent warning. The Empire's certainty was fracturing, and somewhere in the depths of space, humanity's wrath was awakening. The mysterious human ship advances deeper into Imperial space, leaving chaos in its wake. On the Galactic Empire's War Council, heated debates unfold as leaders scramble to identify the threat. Meanwhile, aboard Captain Celine's vessel, memories of Earth's hidden wars surface, revealing humanity's secret arsenal and its readiness to reclaim power. As the human crew prepares for inevitable confrontation, their technological edge and unyielding resolve begin to dismantle the Empire's smug complacency. The colossal war chamber of the Galactic Empire's High Council roared with heated voices and flashing holograms. Massive crystalline panels floated above a semicircular dais, each displaying star charts, tactical readouts, and intercepted comms. "We must neutralize it immediately," barked General Valesh, his scaly hands clenched into trembling fists. This unregistered human craft has no right to be here. Its technology is unlike anything in our archives. Councillor Marian, the Empire's chief historian and xenotechnologist, adjusted his silver-framed glasses and interjected calmly. The records of humanity's wars were deliberately expunged after the Great Collapse centuries ago. Most believe Earth's military programs ended in ruin and obscurity, but this ship proves otherwise. Javel's voice cut through the tension, colder than ice. Then we are blind to our own history. Around the chamber, murmurs spread. The Galactic Empire had always considered humanity a primitive, fractured species, survivors barely crawling from pre-spaceflight ruin. Yet here, in the depths of their own dominion, an unannounced human warship sailed boldly, unafraid. On the ship itself, Captain Celine moved through the dim corridors, her boots silent on the matte black flooring. Her crew worked efficiently, their eyes steely but calm. Each knew the stakes. The galaxy thought humanity dead or insignificant. They were about to prove otherwise. Celine's thoughts drifted to Earth, a planet scarred by millennia of secret wars, ancient conflicts buried beneath layers of propaganda and silence. They forgot we fought to survive. They forgot we hid weapons. Far beyond their imagining, her vessel, the Revenant, was a testament to that hidden past. Constructed in clandestine orbital yards, using high-entropy alloys and adaptive cloaking fields, it was a ghost from the forgotten wars, built to outlast empires. The ship's AI, named Argus, chimed softly in her earpiece. "Captain, Imperial vessels are dispatching interceptors at sublight speeds. Estimated time to engagement, 37 minutes. Celine nodded, her voice low but resolute. "Prepare the tactical systems. We don't run, we fight." Back in the High Council chamber, the Emperor's envoy, Lord Kyrin, tapped his cane. Against the floor, eyes narrowing. What is their intent? To provoke war, to claim territory, or are they testing our defenses? Marian's fingers danced across a console, pulling up classified intel. Their trajectory suggests deliberate entry, not reconnaissance. This is a challenge or a declaration. Valesh snarled. "We will respond with overwhelming force. Send the fleet to blockade all nearby systems. Do not let this ship escape." Meanwhile, inside the Revenant's tactical bay, engineers calibrated plasma torpedo arrays and activated electromagnetic pulse disruptors. Celine walked past, her gaze lingering on the complex weaponry, silent but deadly. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Rami, approached, concern etched on his face. "Captain, are we truly ready to face the Empire's wrath? Their fleets outnumber us 10-1. Celine met his eyes. "Numbers don't decide wars, Lieutenant. Precision, resolve, and history do." She tapped a control pad, bringing up a holographic projection of Earth's old military emblems, symbols lost to time but alive in this ship's heart. Every battle we've ever fought, every weapon designed in secret, it's all here. The galaxy thinks we're weak. They've never faced a Deathworld survivor. In the Council, the debate raged. Admiral Javel's voice grew desperate. "We cannot underestimate them. Their tech is alien, their tactics unknown. We must gather intelligence, hack their comms, learn their weaknesses." A technician flicked her wrist, pulling a tangled web of intercepted signals into view. Their communications are encrypted with a variable quantum key algorithm. Attempts to decrypt are failing. The chamber fell silent. No one had ever seen encryption that defied quantum intrusion, a digital fortress. Lord Kyrin scowled. "So they have adapted beyond even our greatest minds. This is not a relic of Earth's past. It is evolution weaponized." On board the Revenant, Celine stood before the ship's ancient emblem, and Ouroboros entwined with the double helix, a symbol of endless renewal and survival. "Prepare the crew," she ordered. "Once they move to engage, we unleash everything." "Lieutenant," Rami swallowed. The Outer Rim fleets will reach us in less than 20 minutes. Celine's eyes flickered with a dangerous light. Let them come. The Empire will learn that ghosts from the forgotten wars do not die. They hunt. The countdown began, silent but relentless. Outside the ship, Imperial fighters poured from hidden bays, sleek and deadly, like swarms of mechanical wasps. The void exploded with laser fire and missile trails. Argus's voice was calm, almost soothing. Target lock achieved, initiating evasive maneuvers. Celine gripped the armrest, feeling the surge of the ship's engines as they bent space itself, slipping past incoming fire with uncanny agility. A fighter exploded nearby, showering debris like a meteor storm. "Deploy countermeasures!" Selena commanded. In moments, the Revenant's shields shimmered, absorbing blasts that would have shattered lesser vessels. Back on the Imperial bridge, Javel's composure cracked. They maneuver with an unnatural grace. How? Where is their advantage? Marianne spoke, voice grave. They harness technologies banned after the collapse. Quantum phase shifting, biological nano-weapons, and adaptive armor woven from living fibers. Valesh growled, "Then we have no choice but to escalate. Prepare the siege arrays." Suddenly, the holomap flickered as a new image appeared. A fleet emerging from an uncharted wormhole, identical vessels to the Revenant. The chamber froze. A new reality dawned. Humanity was not alone. It was a fleet coming home to claim its place. Inside the Revenant, Celine activated a deep subroutine. The ship's hull rippled, revealing hidden weapon ports and thrusters hidden beneath organic plates. Lieutenant Rami's eyes widened. "You kept this secret all this time?" Selena nodded. "Our greatest advantage, underestimated by every empire, hidden in plain sight." The ship hummed louder, as if awakening a sleeping giant. "Engage full battle protocol," Celine ordered. "Let the Empire witness what humanity's ghosts can do." Outside, the stars bent and twisted as the fleet prepared to strike. In the council chamber, Lord Kyrin whispered, "The galaxy's arrogance blinds it. We face not a dying species, but an empire reborn in shadow." Javel's voice was bitter. "Then let them come. We will show them why the Galactic Empire reigns supreme." But beneath the bravado, a deep fear spread like wildfire. This was not a battle of ships, but of legends, humanity's silent revenge. As the Revenant and its fleet surged forward, a singular thought echoed through the minds of all who watched. The forgotten were returning, and the Empire was about to tremble. The initial clash between humanity's hidden fleet and the Galactic Empire's forces erupts in a blazing spectacle of strategy, technology, and raw power. Captain Celine's crew demonstrates terrifying mastery of advanced weaponry and tactical innovation, turning the tide against overwhelming odds. Meanwhile, the Empire's commanders scramble to comprehend the human fighting style and adapt, but fear and doubt begin to fracture their unity. The battle ignites a brutal war that will reshape the galaxy's balance forever. The vastness of space suddenly ignited with blazing fury. The silent void shattered as ships surged forward in a symphony of destruction and chaos. Laser beams cut like blades, torpedoes streaked like falling stars, and explosions blossomed into deadly nova bursts. Captain Celine stood at the heart of the command deck aboard the Revenant, eyes blazing beneath the glow of holographic tactical displays. Around her, the crew moved with uncanny synchronicity. Every movement, every calculation was a step in a deadly dance. Enemy fleet formation approaching Sector 4. Estimated strength, 8 capital ships and 75 escort fighters. The tactical officer's voice was steady, though tension simmered beneath the surface. Selena's gaze flicked over the projections. The Galactic Empire's forces were vast and heavily armed, confident in their numerical superiority. But confidence was a luxury they could no longer afford. Deploy plasma nets and electromagnetic mines around our perimeter. Let them choke on their own hubris. Lieutenant Rami, standing close beside her, nodded grimly. The Empire's fighters are aggressive, but their tactics are predictable. Selene's lips curled into a faint smile. Predictability is the enemy of survival. Across the void, Imperial Admiral Javel gritted his teeth, watching the swirling human fleet weaving through asteroid fields and dark matter clouds with a precision that defied Imperial doctrine. "Focus fire on the command ship," he ordered, voice icy. "Destroy their leadership and this fleet will crumble." But Selene anticipated this. As the first salvo of ion cannons screamed toward the Revenant, the ship's hull shifted, adaptive armor plates sliding and reforming, dispersing. Energy with fluid grace, evasive maneuvers, full impulse. Selene's command sent the ship darting through space, almost alive in its movement. The battle surged into full fury. Plasma torpedoes exploded in vibrant eruptions, illuminating the darkness. Fighters clashed like furious hornets, weaving deadly patterns, their pilots dancing on the razor edge of death. Selene's voice was calm but commanding. "Launch the nanite swarms. Target enemy shield generators and communications arrays." In the bowels of the ship, hidden launchers released millions of microscopic machines. The nanites swarmed like a living cloud, infiltrating enemy systems, corroding circuitry and spreading chaos. Across the Imperial fleet, alarms blared as ships lost power or dropped from formation. Confusion rippled through the ranks. On board Admiral Javel's flagship, he slammed a fist on the console. "Countermeasures now! Eradicate those pests!" The technicians scrambled, but the nanites were relentless, adapting faster than their systems could respond. Meanwhile, the Revenant's fighters executed hit-and-run attacks, striking weak points in the enemy's perimeter and vanishing before retaliation could come. "Lieutenant Rami," Selene said, "ready the quantum disruptor. A cannon will give them a message they won't forget." The disruptor cannon was an experimental weapon, a devastating beam that tore through space-time itself, creating micro-singularities that collapsed enemy hulls from the inside. As the cannon charged, a new wave of Imperial fighters surged. Toward the human command ship, their numbers overwhelming. Selene's gaze sharpened. "Deploy the phase shift, now!" The ship's entire frame shimmered and blurred as it phased partially out of normal space, becoming intangible for crucial seconds, allowing missiles and lasers to pass harmlessly through. One interceptor exploded mid-flight, disintegrated by the cannon's opening blast. Then two, then a dozen. Across the battlefield, Imperial ships faltered, caught off guard by the combination of human technology and tactical genius. In the Imperial war chamber, the Council's panic deepened. Lord Kyrin's face was pale, voice trembling, as he spoke into his communicator. "This is beyond anything we prepared for. Our weapons are failing. Our ships are being dismantled piece by piece." General Valesh growled, "We need reinforcements. Launch the Dreadnought battle group from the inner systems." But Marian shook his head gravely. "Reinforcements will only delay the inevitable. Humanity fights with a ruthlessness we did not anticipate. They use the void itself as a weapon." Back on the Revenant, Selene watched as her fleet carved through the enemy like a scythe. Every strike was precise, every maneuver deliberate. Her mind flashed back to Earth's death worlds, harsh planets where survival was forged through brutal adaptation. The crew she commanded were survivors, hardened by generations of conflict, trained to use every advantage. "Status report," she said, voice steady. "Tactical netting intact. Nanite swarms have compromised 47% of enemy communications. Shield integrity at 89%. Good. She turned to the communications officer. Send the transmission. A chilling message pulsed out across the battlefield, encrypted in a code. Only the Empire could understand. We are not your prey. We are your reckoning. The message echoed across the void, a ghostly promise that sent a ripple of unease through the Imperial fleet. Imperial Admiral Javel clenched his jaw, fury igniting his voice. Focus all fire on their command ship. They cannot hold. But the Revenant danced away, slipping through laser barrages and missile storms like a phantom. Quantum disruptor ready. Celine nodded. Fire. A brilliant beam erupted from the ship's bow, a tearing force that carved a crater through the lead Imperial cruiser. The ship's hull collapsed inward, and it vanished in a fiery implosion. The Imperial fleet staggered. Their numbers were vast, but their coordination was fracturing. In the battle's wake, Celine's voice was clear and commanding. Press. The advantage. Do not give them time to regroup. Lieutenant Rami's eyes flickered with fierce pride. This is a war unlike any other. Celine's expression hardened. This is a war for our survival, and for the memory of those who were written out of history. The battle raged on, a firestorm consuming the void. Yet in every flash of laser fire and every explosion, a new truth was forged. Humanity's return was not a whisper in the dark. It was a roar that would shake the stars themselves. The aftermath of the first battle leaves the Galactic Empire reeling, their arrogance shattered and command structure strained. Within the Imperial command, factions emerge, some calling for immediate brutal retaliation, others advocating cautious diplomacy, fearing humanity's unknown strength. Meanwhile, Captain Celine rallies her crew, aware that the war's next phase will test not just technology, but wills and loyalties. A shadowy figure from humanity's past emerges, hinting at ancient secrets that could change everything. The cold metallic walls of the Imperial war chamber seemed to absorb the bitterness that filled the air. Screens flickered with damaged reports, lost ships, and fragmented communications. The undeniable scars of defeat. The Galactic Empire, once unchallenged across countless star systems, now faced a threat that had shredded its pride in a matter of hours. Admiral Javel stood before, the shattered holomap, fists clenched as his voice cut through the tense silence. This cannot be allowed to stand. Humanity's insolence must be crushed. Their fleet is small, but their technology is alien. Councillor Marianne exchanged a weary glance with Lord Chiron. Alien and ancient. Their tactics mirror Earth's death world doctrines, guerrilla strikes, phased armor, nanite warfare. They fight like predators in a jungle, not like conventional space fleets. Valesh growled, Enough of speculation. We need a counterstrike. We bring our full might to bear. No mercy. Lord Chiron raised a hand, silencing the room. Patience. They struck hard, yes. But hastiness will lead us into traps we cannot. Imagine there is something deeper here, something we have yet to grasp. Javel's scowl deepened. Then what do you suggest? Negotiation. Chiron's gaze was cold, a show of strength and a search for understanding. Far beyond the Imperial stronghold aboard the Revenant, the atmosphere was charged, but focused. Captain Celine moved through the ship's corridors with purpose. The battle had been won, but the war was only beginning. Her crew gathered in the briefing room, the hollow map illuminating their faces, faces forged by hardship, determination, and a shared secret. We've shown them what we are capable of, Celine said, voice steady. But we cannot rely on speed and stealth alone. The Empire will adapt, and they will come for us with everything they have. Lieutenant Rami nodded. We've sustained damage, but the ship's core remains stable. The fleet is intact. Celine's eyes hardened. Good. We must push further into Imperial space. Hit their supply lines, disrupt their communications, force them to fight on our terms. A murmur of agreement swept through the crew. But beneath their resolve was a deeper tension, the knowledge that the galaxy was awakening to a humanity, long thought extinct or irrelevant. In the shadowed depths of the Revenant, Selene paused before a sealed chamber, ancient runes etched along its door. Her fingers traced the cold metal. "This is where the past sleeps," she murmured. Inside lay relics of Earth's forgotten wars, advanced weapon prototypes, battle data encrypted beyond Imperial reach, and the last surviving members of a secret council that had shaped humanity's survival for centuries. A voice echoed in her mind, a fragment from an old communication log. "We will rise from the ashes. We will be the reckoning they never saw coming." Selene's jaw tightened. The fight was not just for survival, but for reclaiming humanity's place in the stars. Back in the Imperial war chamber, fractures emerged among the leadership. General Valesh gathered a faction of hardliners, their faces grim and unyielding. "We cannot afford weakness. Strike at their homeworlds. Show them that defiance means annihilation." Councillor Marianne countered, "That path leads to endless war. We must seek to understand their technology and find their weaknesses before we escalate." Kirin watched silently, the weight of centuries pressing on his shoulders. "This is more than a battle of ships and weapons. It is a clash of histories, of pride and forgotten truths." Within the Revenant's command room, the ship's AI Argus projected data streams and tactical options. "Captain, enemy reinforcements are mobilizing faster than anticipated. Their dreadnought battle group is en route." Selene's eyes narrowed. "Then we have little time." She turned to her crew. "Prepare for a siege. We'll use the terrain, asteroid fields, gravitational anomalies to our advantage." Rami spoke up. "And the ancient weapon cache. Can we deploy any of those assets?" Selene nodded. "We will, but carefully. The galaxy must not see us as mere relics of the past, but as a force reborn. On board an Imperial dreadnought, Captain." Talar gritted his teeth as his ship raced toward the battle zone. "The humans have shattered our pride, but they will learn why the Galactic Empire never yields." His crew responded with disciplined determination, yet whispers spread among the ranks, stories of humans wielding technologies thought lost, of ships that seemed to fade and reappear. At will, Talar clenched his fists. "We will burn those legends to ashes." Meanwhile, in the depths of space, a shadowy figure emerged from hyperspace aboard a sleek, unmarked vessel. Her eyes glinted with knowledge and power. A woman named Lyra, once a key architect of humanity's secret defenses, now returning from exile. "Captain Selene," Lyra's voice was calm but commanding as she boarded the Revenant. "The time has come to reveal what lies beneath the surface." Selene regarded her carefully. "Then show me what the Empire fears most." Lyra's smile was dark and knowing. "The war is not just in the stars, but in the hearts of those who thought they had forgotten us." As the Revenant prepared for the next onslaught, the Galactic Empire's foundations trembled. The arrogance that once defined them was cracking under the weight of a past they had buried too deeply. The galaxy held its breath, on the edge of a war that would rewrite legends and shatter empires. Captain Selene and her crew unlock secrets, buried deep within the Revenant, technologies and memories from Earth's forgotten wars that hold the key to turning the tide. Meanwhile, the Galactic Empire's leaders grapple with the devastating truth of humanity's resilience, sparking paranoia and desperate strategies. As the front lines ignite, new alliances form and betrayals lurk, setting the stage for a conflict far beyond mere ships and weapons, a war for the soul of the galaxy itself. The quiet hum of the Revenant's engine room was punctuated by the rhythmic tapping of Selena's boots on the metal floor as she descended deeper into the ship's core. The sealed chamber she had approached days before now stood open, revealing a vault of ancient war relics, tools, weapons, and data cores from an era the galaxy had long erased from memory. "Every artifact here," Celine said, her voice echoing softly, "is a story they didn't want told." Lieutenant Rami stood beside her, eyes wide with reverence and curiosity. "It's more advanced than I imagined. The materials alone, unknown alloys, adaptive tech that heals itself. This isn't just survival gear, it's legacy." Celine nodded, her gaze lingering on a sleek helmet etched with the sigils of old. "Earth's clandestine military. Legacy and vengeance. We've carried this burden in silence, now it's time to unleash it." She activated the central console, and the vault's walls shifted, revealing a holoprojector displaying battle maps and classified operations. Each data core pulsed faintly with stored memories, encoded tactics, and lost histories. "Look here," Celine pointed. "Operation Nemesis. A strike so devastating it wiped out half the enemy's fleet before the war even began." Rami's eyes narrowed. "These tactics could turn the tide if adapted for today's battles." "We will adapt," Celine replied. "But first, we need to understand what the Empire fears most." Meanwhile, on the Imperial flagship, fear morphed into chaos. Admiral Javel's orders were frantic, his once commanding voice now tinged with desperation. "Increase patrols around key systems, intercept any transmission, any sign of that hidden technology." General Valesh paced furiously. "They use the darkness itself as a weapon. Their tactics defy our understanding. If we don't act fast, the entire Empire will unravel." Councillor Marianne, ever the scholar, offered a grim insight. "Humanity's history is intertwined with survival against impossible odds. Their so-called primitive past is their greatest weapon. They've mastered guerrilla warfare, biological enhancements, and quantum sabotage." Kyrin's gaze was distant but resolute. "We cannot win by conventional means. This war demands innovation and alliances we never considered." Back aboard the Revenant, Celine convened with her senior officers in the tactical room. The pale, holographic display showed the growing fronts of battle, Imperial forces scrambling to contain humanity's advance. "We strike where they least expect it," Celine said. "Supply depots, communication hubs, fleet assembly points. We disrupt their strength and erode their will." Lieutenant Aris, the ship's lead engineer, spoke up. "The relic weapons can be integrated with our current systems. Plasma lances, quantum mines, bioelectronic drones. We can deploy these in the field immediately." Celine's eyes gleamed. "Good. Prepare a strike team for a high-risk raid on the Omega supply cluster. This will send a clear message." In the shadows of the Imperial Council, whispers grew louder, factions forming around those advocating for negotiation and those demanding total war. Valesh confronted Kyrin. In a private chamber, his tone venomous. "Your hesitation will cost us the Empire. These humans will tear us apart if we don't crush them now." Kyrin's reply was icy. "Blind aggression is a path to ruin. We must be smarter. We must understand their strength if we are to survive." Valesh sneered. "Understanding won't save us when their ships are in our skies." The raid on the Omega supply cluster was swift and brutal. Under the cover of darkness, Celine's strike team deployed stealth drones and nanite swarms, infiltrating heavily fortified depots. Explosions rocked the supply hubs as plasma charges detonated, crippling fuel reserves and ammunition stocks. Imperial. Guards scrambled, but the human operatives vanished before reinforcements could arrive. The Empire reeled from the assault, their supply chains in disarray. During the aftermath, Celine met with Lyra in the ship's strategy room. "The Empire's pride blinds them," Lyra said, eyes cold with calculation. "They believe technology alone will save them. But we carry something more, the spirit of survival and adaptation." Celine nodded. "And the will to fight beyond their reckoning." Lyra's voice dropped. There is more, Captain. Secrets. Buried beneath Earth's surface, ancient weapons and alliances that even the Empire fears. We must awaken them. Celine's expression hardened. Then we have no time to lose. Across the galaxy, the war escalated. Battles tore through star systems, fleets clashed in brilliant displays of fire and fury, and whispers of humanity's return spread like wildfire. The Empire's arrogance was replaced by paranoia. Every shadow, every unexplored system became a potential threat. In this crucible, alliances shifted. Some alien factions saw opportunity in humanity's rise, offering uneasy support. Others pledged loyalty to the Empire, desperate to stem the tide. Celine stood once more on the Revenant's bridge, staring out into the stars, streaking past at faster-than-light speeds. This war, she murmured, is not just for territory or power. It's for the truth of who we are and who we will become. Lieutenant Rami placed a steady hand on her shoulder. And with this crew, we will face whatever comes. The ship's ancient emblem shimmered in the light, the Ouroboros, entwined with the double helix, a symbol of rebirth and endless resolve. As humanity's hidden war echoed through the cosmos, one thing was clear. The galaxy would never be the same again. As humanity's campaign escalates, unrest spreads within the Galactic Empire's inner circles. Political intrigue and whispered conspiracies threaten to unravel the fragile unity of the Empire. Captain Celine faces not only battles in space, but also the challenge of uniting fractured human factions and allies. Meanwhile, ancient secrets from Earth's past awaken, revealing unexpected players ready to influence the fate of the war and the galaxy itself. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace, usually resplendent with gleaming marble and statues of past conquerors, now felt heavy with tension and distrust. Imperial courtiers whispered behind veiled hands, eyes darting nervously as news of humanity's relentless advance spread like wildfire. In the council chamber, Lord Kyrin sat quietly at the head of the table, his usually calm demeanor frayed. At the edges, before him lay reports of fleet losses, failed ambushes and fractured alliances. The Empire's once solid foundation trembled with every passing hour. General Valesh paced aggressively. Our fleets bleed. Our people lose faith. If we do not act decisively, the Empire will fracture from within. Councillor Marian raised a cautious hand. There are rumors, my lord. Factions within the Senate question the wisdom of total war. Some even seek secret parley with humanity. Valesh's scowl deepened. Treason. We will root it out. Kirin's gaze hardened. The Empire must adapt or perish. But caution, not blind fury, will determine our survival. Far from the political machinations of the Empire, aboard the Revenant, Captain Celine convened a council with her closest allies, representatives from various human colonies and allied species who had joined their cause. The ship hummed quietly as Celine outlined their next move, a coordinated strike against the Imperial fortress world of Varax Prime, a key strategic nexus. Lieutenant Rami leaned forward, concern evident. Varax Prime is heavily fortified, bombarded with defenses that can cripple entire fleets. Celine nodded. Precisely why we must strike swiftly and with precision. We can't win by attrition, we win by breaking their will. Among the gathered was Jara, a former intelligence operative from the Martian colonies. Her eyes flashed with determination. I have access to Imperial insider channels. There are whispers of dissent we can exploit. Celine smiled faintly. Good. Every crack in their armor counts. Back on Varax Prime, the Imperial Governor Terex stared down at the bustling command center. News of the human fleet's approach stirred unease among his officers. Our sensors detect unusual activity in the outer orbital belts, an officer reported. Likely reconnaissance. Tyrex's lips curled in contempt. Let them come. We will show these insurgents why the Empire reigns supreme. Yet beneath his bravado lurked a shadow of doubt. Reports of sabotage and espionage had become too frequent. The seeds of rebellion were sprouting in the Empire's core. In a hidden enclave beneath Varax Prime's surface, a secret meeting unfolded between Imperial senators opposed to the endless war. "We cannot allow this conflict to consume us," whispered Senator Vash, her eyes wary. "Humanity has shown resilience and strength beyond our estimates. Continuing this war will only lead to ruin." Her counterpart, Senator Drall, shook his head. "The Emperor demands total loyalty. Any sign of weakness is betrayal." Vash's voice was steady but urgent. "Then we must act in the Empire's true interest, seek a path to peace, even if it means defying our leaders." Meanwhile, aboard the Revenant, Selene received a coded message from an unexpected source, an ancient human faction believed lost to time, the Silent Watchers. "They offer aid," Selene read aloud, "but their price is knowledge and trust." Rami frowned. "Trust is scarce in this war." Selene's gaze was unwavering. "We must take the risk. Allies may be the difference between survival and extinction." As preparations for the Varax Prime assault began, Selene reflected on the vastness of the struggle. It was no longer just a battle of fleets, but a war woven with shadows, secrets, and shifting loyalties. Her thoughts turned to Lyra, the enigmatic figure who had revealed ancient Earth secrets. "The past is never truly gone," Selene whispered. "It shapes every step we take." In the Imperial capital, the tension culminated in a sudden power shift. Whispers of coup and counter-coup filled the corridors. Valesh gathered loyalists, plotting to seize control and enforce total war. Kirin, aware of the looming threat, convened a secret council, determined to steer the Empire away from ruin. The fate of the Galactic Empire hung precariously in the balance, caught between pride and survival, fury and wisdom. As the Revenant launched toward Varax Prime, Captain Selene stood resolute on the bridge. "Prepare for the storm," she commanded. "The galaxy watches, and our moment has come." The stars blurred into streaks of light as the ship surged forward, a harbinger of change, a shadow stirring the heart of an empire. Humanity launches a daring assault on the heavily fortified imperial world of Varax Prime, combining guerrilla tactics with advanced weaponry to outmaneuver the enemy. The battle is brutal and intense, testing the resolve of both sides. Captain Selene leads her forces through perilous combat zones, while inside the Empire cracks deepen as internal struggles weaken their response. The siege marks a turning point. Humanity's determination shakes the core of the Empire and inspires hope across the galaxy. The vast orbital defenses of Varax Prime blazed to life as the Revenant and its fleet approached, a wall of lethal turrets and missile batteries casting deadly fire across the void. Clouds of interceptor fighters swarmed like predatory insects, seeking to rip apart the human advance before it reached planetary orbit. Captain Selene stood firm on her ship's bridge, her hands steady on the console as tactical maps streamed. "Real-time enemy positions. Deploy stealth drone squadrons," she commanded. "Create false targets and confusion. Focus on disabling the missile batteries." Lieutenant Rami nodded. "Drones launching now." Within moments, the void erupted. With decoys, phantom ships flickering in and out of sensor range, drawing fire away from the real fleet. Under the cover of this deception, plasma torpedoes found their marks, silencing several heavy turrets. Below, on Varax Prime's surface, the Imperial Governor Tyrex watched the battle unfold with grim determination. "Hold the line," barked. "No human filth will breach this world." But cracks had already appeared. Sabotage had crippled power grids, and communications were intermittently jammed. Reports of insurgents within the city further frayed morale. In the capital's war room, a young officer whispered to his commander, "The humans fight with ferocity unlike any we've seen. Their technology is adaptive." The commander's eyes narrowed. "They are desperate. Desperation breeds cunning." Back in orbit, the Revenant's fleet pressed the assault, weaving through enemy fire with deadly precision. "Ready the quantum disruptor cannon," Celine ordered. "Target the orbital command station. We sever their nerve center, and the defense crumbles." The cannon charged, a brilliant beam slicing through the void and striking the command station. A massive explosion ripped through the structure, cascading debris into the atmosphere below. On the ground, chaos erupted as Imperial defenses faltered. Rebel factions, emboldened by the orbital assault, launched coordinated strikes. Jara led a covert team through the city's underbelly, planting explosives on supply depots and communication hubs. "This is for every colony they crushed," she whispered into her comms. "We'll make them remember." As the battle raged, Celine's thoughts drifted to the cost. Every victory demanded sacrifice. Every gain came with loss. Her voice softened, almost to herself. "We fight not just for conquest, but for survival. For a future where humanity's story is no longer written in shadows." Within the Empire's fractured leadership, tensions boiled over. Valesh staged a coup attempt, aiming to seize control and impose ruthless martial law. Kairin, forewarned by loyalists, moved swiftly to counter the threat, rallying senators and military leaders committed to preserving the Empire's stability. The siege of Varax Prime reached its crescendo as the Revenant and its fleet tightened their grip. Imperial forces fought fiercely but were overwhelmed by coordinated strikes, adaptive technology, and unyielding human resolve. Celine's voice rang out across comms, clear and commanding. "This is only the beginning. We will bring the fight to every corner of the Empire." As the stars beyond Varax Prime shimmered with distant explosions and flashes of laser fire, the galaxy stood on the precipice of change. The once unassailable Galactic Empire had been shaken to its core, and humanity's silent return had become an unstoppable roar. Following the devastating siege of Varax Prime, fractures deepen within the Galactic Empire and among humanity's allies. Political intrigue and betrayals threaten to unravel fragile coalitions. Captain Celine must navigate shifting loyalties and prepare for a new, more dangerous phase of the war as old enemies exploit the chaos. The lines between friend and foe blur, setting the stage for a conflict where trust becomes the rarest and deadliest commodity. The glow of distant star systems filtered through the observation deck's reinforced glass. But inside the Revenant, the atmosphere was thick with tension. The recent victory at Varax Prime had come at a heavy cost, and the aftershocks rippled far beyond the battlefield. Captain Celine stood before her assembled council of allied representatives, humans, Martians, and other species who had pledged their fates to the cause. Yet beneath the surface of solidarity, suspicion simmered. "We must address the growing dissent," Celine began, her voice steady yet resolute. "Our enemies will seek to exploit any weakness. Unity is our strongest weapon." Jara, ever vigilant, nodded sharply. "Reports from the outer colonies speak of factions breaking ranks. Old grudges and power struggles resurface. If we do not act, our coalition will crumble." Lieutenant Rami interjected. "Intelligence indicates some allied groups are negotiating in secret with Imperial sympathizers. The threat may come from within." Celine's eyes narrowed. "Then we root out the traitors swiftly and decisively." Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the Imperial capital was a powder keg. Lord Kairin fought desperately to maintain order. As factions within the Senate clashed openly, hardliners demanding total war, moderates pleading for peace, and opportunists scheming for personal gain. In the shadowed corridors, General Vex gathered his loyalists, plotting a renewed campaign of ruthless expansion to crush humanity before their movement could spread further. But whispers reached Kairin of secret back channels, alliances forming between disillusioned imperial officials and enigmatic human, factions long thought extinct. Back on the Revenant, Selene's thoughts turned to Lyra, whose knowledge of ancient Earth secrets had proven invaluable and mysterious. "Captain," Lyra said quietly, "there are forces even we do not fully understand. Old pacts and powers lie dormant, waiting to be awakened." Selene regarded her carefully. "We cannot afford distractions, but we must be prepared for whatever shadows rise." On Varax Prime, remnants of Imperial forces retreated to fortified enclaves, regrouping under grim commanders determined to reclaim lost ground. Sabotage and insurgency continued to strain their resources, while whispered rumors of betrayal haunted their ranks. Amid the turmoil, unexpected emissaries arrived, aliens from distant systems offering tentative support to the Empire, seeking favor or survival. In the midst of shifting alliances, a covert meeting took place aboard a neutral station orbiting a forgotten moon. Representatives from various factions gathered, some seeking peace, others plotting dominance. "Trust is scarce," one delegate remarked, "but the coming storm demands cooperation." A shadowed figure leaned forward, voice low and compelling. "Or control. Remember, in war, power is the currency of survival." Selene's crew prepared for the next phase of their campaign, knowing the challenges ahead would be more complex than ever before. The war was no longer just a battle of fleets, but a tangled web of politics, betrayal, and ancient secrets. As the Revenant surged into the starry abyss, its crew steeled themselves for the storm to come, ready to face enemies seen and unseen. The war's complex web tightens as secret betrayals and false alliances come to light. Captain Selene must confront internal threats and unravel the layers of deception while maintaining momentum against the Empire. Simultaneously, the Empire's fractured leadership faces assassinations and power plays that threaten to destabilize their entire command structure. As trust dissolves, the true cost of the war becomes painfully clear. Survival depends on uncovering the truth before it's too late. In the dimly lit corridors of the Revenant, whispers passed like shadows. The crew, bound by loyalty yet strained by suspicion, faced a threat beyond the Imperial fleets, betrayal from within. Captain Selene paced the command deck, her mind racing. Intelligence reports flagged inconsistencies, encrypted transmissions, unexplained sabotage, and mysterious disappearances. Someone aboard was playing a dangerous game. "Lieutenant Rami," Selene called, voice low, "initiate a full security sweep. I want every communication channel monitored. No message goes unchecked." Rami nodded, tapping rapidly on his console. "Understood, Captain. We'll find the leak." Meanwhile, in the Galactic Empire's crumbling capital, the atmosphere was thick with paranoia. Lord Kairin's attempts to hold the fractured Senate together were undermined by deadly assassinations targeting his closest advisors. General Vex seized the chaos to rally his faction, promising to restore order through strength and purge dissenters with ruthless efficiency. Yet even among his ranks, doubts lingered. The war was becoming a poison, corrupting friend and foe alike. Back aboard the Revenant, Selene convened a secret meeting with Lyra and Jara. "We're fighting a war on two fronts," Lyra said grimly. "Not just against the Empire, but against the shadows within." Jara's eyes narrowed. "If traitors sabotage us, everything we've built could collapse." Selene's resolve hardened. "Then we root them out, no matter the cost." Amid the void, skirmishes continued. The Empire's fleet, battered but unyielding, launched guerrilla strikes aimed at disrupting human supply lines and communications. Celine's forces responded with adaptive tactics, using stealth, misinformation, and unpredictable maneuvers that left Imperial commanders scrambling. The war had become a deadly chess match, each side anticipating and countering the other's moves with brutal efficiency. On the ground in Varax Prime's rebel-held sectors, Jara led a daring rescue mission to extract captured allies from a high-security Imperial prison. The operation was perilous, riddled with traps and enemy patrols, but success would bolster morale and strengthen alliances. As explosions echoed and firefights raged, Jara's team pressed forward, driven by the hope that every life saved was a step toward victory. Back in the Imperial Palace, Lord Kyrin confronted Varlesh in a tense council session. "This war has become a crucible," Kyrin warned. "We risk losing not only the galaxy, but ourselves." Varlesh sneered. "Strength is the only truth. Without it, the Empire falls." The confrontation ended without resolution, setting the stage for further turmoil. Captain Celine stood alone on the observation deck, gazing at the stars streaking past as the Revenant prepared for its next engagement. The weight of command pressed heavily upon her. The enemy was everywhere, outside their hulls and inside their ranks. Her voice was barely a whisper. In war, the greatest enemy can sometimes be the one within. As the galaxy plunged deeper into conflict, the veils of deception grew thicker, threatening to suffocate hope and blur the lines between ally and adversary. The battle for the future was no longer just about firepower, but about trust, truth, and survival in a cosmos where shadows reigned. As the war escalates to its most brutal stage, Captain Celine leads a decisive assault on the Empire's stronghold at the edge of Night System. The battle tests every ounce of human ingenuity and resolve, pushing both fleets to the brink of destruction. Inside the Empire, political power struggles erupt into violent confrontations, threatening to collapse the fragile command structure. With victory hanging in the balance, alliances will be forged and broken, and the true cost of rebellion will be revealed. The edge of Night System loomed ahead like a dark sentinel, a sprawling network of fortresses, orbital platforms, and heavily defended shipyards. For decades, it had been the Empire's linchpin in controlling the Outer Rim, a symbol of unassailable power. Captain Celine stood on the bridge of the Revenant, eyes fixed on the swirling mass of enemy defenses. The air was thick with anticipation, a calm before the storm that could change the course of the war forever. "Prepare all systems for full engagement," Celine commanded. "This will be our fiercest battle yet." Lieutenant Rami tapped rapidly at his console. "Enemy fleets are assembling faster than we predicted. Their dreadnoughts are reinforcing the perimeter." Celine's jaw tightened. "We'll need to be smarter and faster, deploy stealth squads to disable their sensor arrays and disrupt communications. The main fleet will punch through their weakened lines." The Empire's Admiral Javel rallied his commanders in the Central Command Hub. "This is our last stand. Failure means the collapse of Imperial control over the Outer Rim. We will not yield." Yet beneath the bravado, doubt crept into many hearts. The recent string of defeats and internal betrayals had shaken confidence to its core. Valesh's shadow loomed over the command chamber, his eyes burning with ruthless ambition. "Crush them utterly, leave no survivors." The battle erupted with blinding fury as fleets collided in a violent dance of lasers, explosions, and plasma storms. The Revenant wove through the chaos, its advanced cloaking and adaptive armor making it nearly untouchable. Celine's commands were precise, rallying her forces to exploit weaknesses and seize every advantage. Quantum disruptor cannons fired, tearing through dreadnought hulls. Nanite swarms infiltrated enemy systems, sowing confusion and destruction from within. On the ground, at edge of Night's surface, rebel forces led by Jara coordinated strikes against orbital supply depots and communication hubs, further destabilizing. Imperial control. Amid the firefights, Jara's unit uncovered a covert weapons cache, advanced armaments designed to turn the tide against humanity. The discovery promised new hope, but also new dangers. Back in the Empire's capital, the political storm reached a boiling point. Kirene and Valesh confronted each other in a council chamber, now divided by factions loyal to each. Words turned to violence as assassinations erupted and power shifted violently. The Empire's future hung by a thread, even as fleets clashed light years away. Amid the battle, Selene faced her own doubts. The weight of leadership pressed heavily, and the cost of victory loomed large. "We fight not just for survival," she whispered, "but for the chance to write a new future." Her crew rallied, knowing that the fate of humanity and the galaxy depended on their resolve. As the stars flared with the fire of war, the edge of night became the crucible where destinies were forged and shattered. Victory was uncertain, sacrifices inevitable, but the silent roar of humanity's resurgence echoed louder than ever. The Galactic Empire teeters on the brink of collapse as internal divisions and relentless human assaults unravel centuries of control. Captain Selene leads a daring push into the Empire's heart, confronting formidable defenses and ancient secrets. Meanwhile, power struggles in the Imperial capital ignite a civil war that threatens to consume all. The clash between old order and new rebellion accelerates toward a reckoning that will decide the fate of countless worlds. The once proud Imperial capital shimmered beneath a cold, distant sun, its spires and towers silhouetted against a sky darkening with the smoke of rebellion. The halls that had echoed with Imperial decree now rang with voices raised in defiance and desperation. Lord Chiron moved cautiously through the shadowed corridors, aware that every step could be his last. The Senate was fractured, with factions openly challenging his authority, and whispers of assassins shadowed every corner. In the war rooms, monitors displayed a relentless advance of human fleets pressing toward the core systems, breaking through defenses once thought impregnable. On board the Revenant, Captain Selene's gaze was steely as she prepared her fleet for the final push. The ship's ancient emblem glowed faintly, a symbol of endurance and rebirth. "We stand on the threshold of a new dawn," she said to her officers. "This is the moment our ancestors fought for, a chance to reclaim what was lost." Lieutenant Rami's eyes shone with fierce determination. "We will not falter." The assault on the Imperial core worlds was brutal and unyielding. Starship battles raged across orbitals, ground forces clashed in fiery skirmishes, and cyber warfare crippled command networks. Selene's forces deployed every weapon at their disposal: quantum disruptors, nanite swarms, and bioengineered war machines, striking with precision and relentlessness. Imperial defenders fought with desperation, but the fractures within their ranks and the ferocity of humanity's assault proved overwhelming. Within the Imperial palace, Valesh made his final move, rallying loyalists for a last stand. The ensuing civil war tore through the heart of the Empire, leaving chaos in its wake. Chiron, betrayed and hunted, sought refuge among allies, determined to restore order and prevent total annihilation. The galaxy watched as the ancient order crumbled under the weight of its own hubris. As the battle reached its zenith, Selene confronted the legacy of the Empire, a fortress hidden in the void, guarding secrets that could change everything. "The truth lies beyond the shadows," she whispered, steeling herself for what awaited. Her crew braced for the storm, knowing that the final chapter of this war was about to be written in blood and fire. The final battle unfolds as Captain Selene leads humanity's fleet into the heart of the collapsing Galactic Empire. Ancient secrets, fierce combat, and profound sacrifices define this climactic confrontation. As the old regime falls, a new era emerges, one shaped by the resilience, unity, and hope of those who fought from the shadows. The galaxy's future is uncertain, but the dawn of humanity's rightful place is undeniable. The void around the Empire's core systems burned with the fire of countless starships. The Revenant spearheaded the assault, its hull scarred but unyielding, weaving through the chaos with the precision of a predator. Captain Selene stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the holographic display of the Imperial Citadel ahead, a towering bastion of cold steel and ancient power, now vulnerable. "Prepare for orbital bombardment," she ordered. "Once the defenses weaken, we breach and take the heart of the Empire." Lieutenant Rami's fingers danced over his console. "Shields holding, but only just. Enemy reinforcements are rallying." Selene's voice was steady. "Hold fast. This is our moment." Inside the Citadel, Lord Chiron rallied the last loyal defenders, his face etched with exhaustion and determination. "The Empire may fall, but our legacy must endure," he proclaimed. "Fight for your homes, your families, your future." Yet around him, whispers of surrender and hope for peace mingled with cries for vengeance. The old order was fracturing irreparably. As the Revenant's fleet unleashed a relentless barrage, ground forces stormed the Imperial bastion. Fierce battles erupted in narrow corridors and vast chambers, each step contested fiercely. Selene led her team through the maelstrom, her resolve unbroken, even as loss shadowed every victory. "We fight for those who cannot," she vowed, "for a future beyond tyranny." In the final hours, secrets long buried surfaced, a hidden weapon capable of reshaping the galaxy's balance, dormant within the Empire's core. Selene faced a choice: wield this power to crush the remnants of the Empire, or to rebuild and unite the fractured worlds. Her decision would define the new order to come. As dawn broke across countless worlds, the Empire lay in ruins, but hope blossomed from the ashes. Humanity's silent return was complete, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new era. The stars whispered of change, and the galaxy held its breath for what would come next.